online Facebook, online LinkedIn, sending data to YouTube and Twitch.
Let's see if we can find YouTube.
Guys, please bear with us. Oh my God, look at him. That's a really awkward smile. It's a nice thumbnail though.
Let's see if I just need to push go live over here.
Streaming.
It says we're streaming. So.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Hello, all the live peoples from the Twitches, the LinkedIns, the YouTubes, and what else are we on right now?
We are on
Facebooks as well. So guys, we are going to get started in a couple of maybe like 1 minute or so. Let some people come in. Basically, this is Marketing School, the Marketing School podcast. We're recording live here in downtown LA. And these are the sessions where Neil and I batch it. Feel free to drop in your questions here. Drop them into the comments because what happens is between our breaks, sometimes we'll address the questions or we might actually even take your question and make it into a podcast episode. Those of you that aren't subscribed yet, check out the Marketing School podcast. Check that one out. And we're going to get going in about 1 minute here and let us know kind of where you're coming from, the questions that you have around marketing. I know a lot of you like to ask about SEO, so drop those SEO questions in there. It's going to be a good time. We'll probably go for about an hour and a half or so, and then we'll be on our way. Hope you have a good weekend. So, hello, Min. Hello, Sally. Hello, Abdul Basit. Yeah, the LinkedIns are good too. Oh, that's a nice picture.
All right, let's try to get 15 done.
All right, here we go. We got the comments, LinkedIn.
All right, so LinkedIn, boom.
Do you want to just pause the video on there? Jose says Neil is so serious. Dimitri, hello.
Why so serious?
Guys, do you like my cup? It's from my team. It's a great cup.
What is yours? World's best boss?
All right, here we go, guys.
Let's do it.
I'm going to clap. Ready?
Okay, we are rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we are going to talk about how to simulcast to Instagram. So first and foremost, what is simulcasting and why is it important, Neil?
Simulcasting is the ability to go live on multiple social networks at once. The reason it's important is if you're going to create content for one of them, might as well create content for all of them because it's not really any more effort and you can go out to all these audience at once. Just like we're doing right now on this podcast. We're on Eric's YouTube, we're on his LinkedIn, we're on his Twitch, we're on his Instagram maybe. Sometimes
not on Instagram today.
Yeah, but he's on most of them. So
yeah, and by the way, the beauty of simulcasting too is if we wanted to put it on Neil stuff too, we can do it too. But the thing is, right now we're using a tool called Restream. It's restream.io. There's a whole host of tools out there. But yeah, to Neil's point, we're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn right now. And the one thing that's missing is a lot of people are hanging out on Instagram. So actually,
Twitter.
And Twitter too. We could do Twitter. We could do Periscope, but nobody really hangs out there.
They do.
Much.
Have you ever tried it? I've done it.
No, we can do it here. Hello from well, I shouldn't be saying the hellos right now because it's a real podcast. I'll say the hellos later because we're doing this live. So we're actually simulcasting this as we record. So not only is this going to go to the podcast, but this goes to 4 different channels online. So someone asked me on LinkedIn recently, "Hey Eric and Neil, do you know somewhere where we can restream to Instagram?" And I answered and I said, I actually don't know anywhere that allows you to do that. And somebody responded, and the Instagram account is called Yellow Duck. So if you search for Yellow Duck Instagram restreaming, they allow you to hook in with Instagram. And then what you can do is all of a sudden Instagram appears. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, and look, if you're going to stream, do it. Instagram is great. Now, keep in mind when you do it on Instagram, everyone is on their mobile devices, so you want to make sure that whatever content you're pushing out there is easy for people to consume from their mobile device. Like I know some people who stream to YouTube and they'll do PowerPoint presentations. Doesn't work too well when people are watching from their mobile devices. But in general, just make sure you know what your audience is, what devices they're using, because that'll affect the type of content you push out there.
Yeah, you got to post natively. Think about what the people are doing on the platforms, right? Like how do they behave in general? So what might work on Instagram might not work as well on LinkedIn. But fortunately, right now, like live in general, it's kind of the same across the board. I don't know if you agree with that. People are just like even Mixer. Microsoft is in the game now with Mixer with their streaming too. So anyway, Yellow Duck, it's actually free to use. I think it's yellowduck.tv. Go check them out. Yellow Duck, thanks so much for tweeting at us to just bring us up to speed, because Neil and I aren't going to pretend like we know everything. So it's really you, the crowd, sometimes the audience, our loyal fans that help us. So that is it for today, but don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe whatever platform that you are coming from. And also, if you want to stay updated with Marketing School in terms of the events that we have coming, things like that, and also learn more about our mastermind, you can go to marketingschool.io/live, that's LIVE, to learn more, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Next, you ready?
Ready?
Go. Okay. And rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about 7 marketing tools for the second half of 2019. So I'll go first. RafflePress. RafflePress is a WordPress plugin that basically allows you to run contests. And there's a lot of contest tools out there. We've talked about them in the past, but this one is actually, it's fairly new to the market. And they've added some bells and whistles that I haven't fully looked at all the bells and whistles yet, but I do know that it's a pretty smooth and fast plugin that we've been trying out. So RafflePress is something we've been testing in addition to all the millions of tools we have.
Next tool, it's been out for a while, but very few people use it. It's called Google Data Studio. So you're using Google Analytics, you're using Search Console, you can create custom reports and dashboards. That's what we use at our ad agency, and it works out great because you can see an overview of a company in real time, and you can create reports with Google's own data sources customized for your business instead of going through Google Analytics and Google Search Console and all these other different places, but one simple interface, and you can pick what reports are super important for you and customize and slice and dice the data however you want.
Number 3, Pattern 89. Pattern 89 does AI for Facebook ads, does AI for, I believe, YouTube as well, and they're kind of looking at other channels too. So I use the term AI. When people say AI, I kind of cringe because we're not quite, people are trying to do, general AI. And, when people throw in AI, it's just, they kind of throw in the buzzwords. But Pattern 89 does actually make suggestions for you and actually helps you optimize your ads. So you can get like anywhere, the typical average they're seeing in terms of performance is a 21% better performance when you're using Pattern 89.
Number 4, Jetson AI. So you guys are all familiar with devices like Google Home and Alexa. They're becoming more and more popular. More than 50% of the searches by 2020, according to ComScore, will be voice search. But if you're selling goods, let's say you're an e-commerce site or you're a restaurant and people buy from you, or people want to know more about your services, right now they can buy through your mobile site or your desktop site. But how do they buy through voice? Jetson AI is pretty much like a Shopify, but for voice devices. So that way you can easily do it and sell your products and services through voice search. Like even if you're Uber, you can now, through Jetson AI, you can be like, hey, please book me a car to pick me up from this time to, and to drop me off at X, Y, and Z place. But in essence, they're allowing the e-commerce experience for both products and services, even for local businesses like restaurants, all through voice search.
Number 5 is Whole.io. So using Whole.io and combining it with other tools that we have, basically this week we got 3 leads on autopilot. One of the leads was Expedia, which is great. And then there's another publicly traded company. So Whole.io basically allows you, it's a customer data platform, but using the data that you have, because you notice the last couple of tools we talked about, we talk about AI, we're talking about data right now too. Excuse me. And everything is kind of going in that direction, making the most of the data that you have. So what Whole allows you to do is you can basically find all the leads that are IP addresses that are hitting your website. You can enrich them. You can also find the pages that they're visiting, and then kind of customize your outreach for them. And then you're basically generating, if you're getting a good amount of traffic, even like a couple thousand or maybe 50,000 plus visits a month, if you're B2B especially, that is going to help you grow. So it depends on the type of business that you're in, and I would recommend maybe having at least 5 figures in traffic before even considering a tool like this. But I will say that it does take the onus off of us in terms of having to figure out, how do we do, do we need to add more outbound salespeople, for example?
Yeah, so number 6 is, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Number 6, what was it? Oh, there it was. Price Intelligently Calculator. It's a weird name. So Price Intelligently is known as a SaaS, a consulting company that helps you figure out the pricing for your...
ProfitWell.
Yeah, or ProfitWell, whatever you want to call it. But Price Intelligent has something, or ProfitWell has a price intelligence calculator.
Mm-hmm.
And ProfitWell, they ended up changing their name. They offer a service where they help you figure out the optimal price for your SaaS company. But here's the thing, their formula works for non-SaaS companies as well. Like they've worked with companies like Reebok, right, who sell shoes. And they have this pricing calculator. So typically if you want to hire them, they charge 6 figures. And from my conversations with them, usually if you're a customer of theirs, you see a 15% increase in new revenue just from their price optimization. But a lot of people don't have $100,000. Their pricing calculator breaks down how you can do their exact formula, and it calculates for you the optimal price for your product, your service, whatever it may be, so you can make the maximum amount of money.
All right, number 7 is, we've talked about this in the past, but I've been using it more and more. Intercom. Intercom is great for not only having chat on your site, but you can almost run it like you're managing your email campaigns in there. Based on how people are behaving, for example, for our SaaS product, we can see if they have a certain amount of traffic, we'll put them into a campaign. If they are not engaging, then we'll send them a campaign as well. It keeps people engaged, it keeps people coming back. We can respond to them inside of Slack, and we can do a whole host of other things. They have product tours as well. It's kind of like an all-in-one. When it comes to kind of engaging with your customers, and we found a lot of value in having it. You can show your people visiting your website. You can show them specific text. Hey, we noticed you're from Coca-Cola, or you can send them specific content too, and you can bring them down different funnels too. So Intercom, pretty full-fledged. We both love the software. So that was number 7. So that is it for today. But before you go, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe because it helps us grow this podcast or whatever channel that you are coming from. And if you want updates on kind of what things that we're doing next events-wise, keep updated on Marketing School, go to marketingschool.io/live, L-I-V, and you'll also learn about our exclusive mastermind as well. That's it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Yes.
You guys want to answer some questions?
We'll do one more and then questions. Are they doing construction next door?
Yeah.
Fuckers.
You just...
I said freakers. Freakers, guys.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
Excuse me. Today, we're going to talk about if TikTok is the next big thing. But first and foremost, Neil, what is TikTok?
TikTok is a new social network. It's very popular in Asia. It's not really that popular as much in the U.S., although it's climbing really fast in the stores and in the rankings, according to like that app
Store. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this app company that does like average metrics on revenue and stuff.
App Annie.
App Annie. There you go. And I believe they were already saying like TikTok's on track to making, over 100 million or a few hundred million. I forgot what the last reports were.
Yeah.
Their valuation is ridiculous. It's in the billions of dollars. And in essence, you can do funny like videos and stuff like that on TikTok. Mm-hmm. They're much shorter though. I haven't used them myself.
60 seconds, I think. Or even shorter than that, maybe.
Yeah, and people are doing like music videos and all that kind of stuff and lip singing, right? If I'm not mistaken, I haven't used it much.
I haven't used it much, but we can talk about the business side and kind of what we think.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with TikTok. So me being a Chinese person, I observe. I'm looking at what they do, and it turns out here's what their user engagement metrics are. Typically, the user will, after 30 days, the user drops off. Okay, so they're not sticky. That's a big problem. Second thing is, I believe it's one of the big China conglomerates, tech conglomerates.
Correct. It's not.
Is it Tencent that owns it?
I believe it
Yeah.
is. Yes.
So here's the thing: they're putting like, I think they've put over $1 billion into the thing. So they're spending a lot to they're acquiring a lot of users. They're not sticking. That's the big problem. So for me, I think the reason we haven't really looked at it yet is because something like that is maybe seems like a fad.
Well, we haven't stuck either. Here's the thing, as marketers, everyone's going to be asking you, hey, should we go into this new social network or leverage this channel? Eventually you should. And what I mean eventually is if that channel continually becomes popular, by all means, go and continually leverage it. But until it hits that threshold where it has mass adoption and everyone's talking about it and everyone's continually logging and using it, then you shouldn't be wasting your time. You look at Instagram. A lot of people haven't been using Instagram yet. It's not too late. You're still fine. You don't have to be the first to enter that market. And sure, being first is great and it gives you advantage. But if you do that, one, it's going to take a lot of your time. Two, a lot of the channels you go into aren't going to work out anyway, so you're just wasting time and money. I would recommend until something becomes really popular and starts hitting mainstream and it's going to work, that's when you should start leveraging it. TikTok is not at that stage yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think Neil's talking about the engaged. Okay, so we talked about the engagement in the app itself, but when you look at social media too, like people used to pay.
Even the user count, they're growing fast, but it's not like they have massive reach like Facebook or Instagram or any of those networks yet.
Yeah. Well, the other thing with the user count too is if there's massive churn, they're just gonna hold at a certain amount and eventually just go down. Well, okay, look. You look at the influencers out there, and who knows when the next, big adjustment or correction is going to happen, but they're getting paid, $50,000, used to be paid $50,000, $100,000 plus for like a post, right? And what people realize is that there's not much engagement going into that. So the key thing with these apps is that you have engagement and people actually care about what you're doing. Not seeing that right now with TikTok. You can check App Annie for kind of some metrics around there. But that's our thoughts around it. Is it the next big thing? It could be, but as of now, I don't think so, and I don't think you think so too, right, Neil?
Nope. And if you guys want a social network to leverage, most of you guys are not leveraging WhatsApp for your business. Check that out. Has a ton of potential. It already hit the mainstream. Everyone's on it. Start using it for your business. All
right, that is it for today. But if you want to keep updated around marketing school, events we do, other kind of special things, all you need to do is go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE. And you can go there to learn about our exclusive mastermind as well. It's kind of a 2-for-1 on that page. That is it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow. One or two questions?
Yeah. Let's see, we got a few in LinkedIn.
Tamil Pasanga Wing 2. Please share your insight on Google's decision to rank podcasts. Dinesh, we will be talking about that. That's one of our final topics today. So you're going to have to stay till the end and then also share this with everyone too.
Let's see. I wish I could make this bigger, but I can't.
That's what...
To-do list, a new brand getting site ready for SEO. What do you think about that?
As a topic?
Or
go up.
come back to it later?
Yeah.
I'll add it as a topic. I'll come up with it. We'll release it on September 15th. New...
Go down. Hey, my friends, awesome show. Will chatbots get AI upgrade to better?
The essential SEO.
Yeah, Atir, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but yeah, chatbots getting AI upgrades. I think everything's going to get an AI upgrade in the future. And it's kind of already happening with lead generation, customer support. Like, it's not specifically AI, but the fact that you can set these rules, it's rules generated responses. It's not exactly AI, but eventually it will be basically. Actually, if there are some chatbots out there that almost behave like they're talking to you, so that's coming for sure. I remember, I think Chase ended up their AI did better than like human copywriters, and they ended up paying a big contract to I forget which company, but yeah, it is a thing. That's like a separate thing from your conversation, or your question.
Cool. The next episode?
Okay.
Yes, let's do it. Someone said Neil switched to iPad
Rolling.
finally.
And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about the advanced SEO hack that gets results in less than 30 minutes and maybe even faster than that.
So this SEO hack is FAQ page schema. And a lot of times you guys also see when you do a Google search, people also search for. People have a lot of random questions when they're doing a Google search, such as digital marketing. What is digital marketing? Digital marketing strategy. What channels make up digital marketing? And what you can do is you can do a FAQ page schema under your content that is around some of these subjects and have a huge drop down between underneath your listing, and you can start taking up more and more spots.
Yeah,
technically not more spots, more real estate, and you'll see an increase in click-through. When I ended up doing it, we saw almost double the click-through rate.
Exactly. And that's across the board on average?
And most people were just like, oh, but then you're giving Google all this stuff, and then they don't need to come to your site. We literally saw almost double the clicks.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, you know, I think Rand Fishkin talked about kind of doing this on SERP SEO where, because a lot of the zero-click searches have actually surpassed the organic clicks now. That it's over 50% now. So you almost have to try to win them when they reach the search result page. So having that extra real estate where you have a drop down, they click it, and then it's like, who's the best market? Literally, if someone asks like, what is SEO? And then he can like, you know, I'm not saying Neil's going to do this, but he can literally put, who's the best marketer? Neil Patel. He can put that in there if he wants to do that, right? So the key thing is you don't want to manipulate Google with this.
Yeah, but if you start manipulating them, you're going to get screwed in the long run. So think of long term. Don't do anything that's not best for the user. Don't just try to self-promote. And look at this. Other people are going to be doing it as well. Google's not going to put a FAQ page box under every single site that does it. Eventually, once more and more sites do it, they're going to pick the best ones. So if you do things like who's the best marketer and you put yourself, you're not going to do that well.
Yep. And then so I was talking with a guy that was doing this and yesterday on my podcast, and he was saying something similar too. It's his previous click-through rate was about 3%. Started doing this and it went up to about 8% on average. So 2.6x increase, right? And he actually has a video doing this too. You can actually visit his blog if you want. It's matthewwoodward.co.uk. He's got a video on how to do it, and he's got the code that you can use too. And basically, once you make this change to a page, for example, you have to go to Google Search Console, submit to index, and it should show up in the next, while we're saying under 30 minutes, you can probably get it done in like 5-10 minutes or so, but 30 minutes just to be conservative. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, so that's it for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to help us grow because we love you. And also, don't forget, if you want to stay updated on Marketing School, just events in general, kind of the happenings, latest episodes, just go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE. And if you're interested, you will learn about our exclusive mastermind over there. It's going to be a great time. We're almost full there, so check it out. And that's it for today. See you tomorrow. All right, let's keep going. We'll do questions every 3.
Yeah. All right, and let's roll it. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about, what the most successful marketers are. And to me, I'll start first. I think the most successful marketers are entrepreneurial. I'm not saying they're entrepreneurs. I'm saying entrepreneurial, meaning that they tend to get things done and they can figure things out on their own. I'm happy to expand on that, but I want to get your thoughts first.
It depends what kind of marketer. Like and it depends on the company size. For large corporations, I think the best marketers tend to be ones who are very data oriented because they have so many resources. And too many people aren't using the data and they're making gut decisions. For smaller companies, I would say the best marketers tend to be the ones who are creative and scrappy. And the reason being is they don't have as many resources and they got to figure out how to get things done without having the money or the time. And most people will say, hey, a lot of the stuff that they want you to do is going to be impossible. But if you're creative enough, there could be a way to figure it out.
Neil, if you had to hire a person, would you rather hire someone that needs that asks a lot of questions and requires kind of a lot of direction, or would you rather hire someone that will figure it out?
It depends what job position, right? Because the problem is everyone's at different stages in their company. For example, we have a big internship program and so many offices at this point, we need people for all ends of the spectrum. So we will hire the ones where we had to train and build up from the ground up. If I have a direct report, typically I'm looking for someone who is a go-getter, understands things, doesn't ask questions, can tell me how to do things better. But that's assuming I have a direct report.
Yeah, there's different seasons in business, to Neil's point. I think for me, I'm going to generalize here and say in general, at least the people that I'm looking for right now. Okay, well, let's compare. If I'm looking for a more senior person, kind of person that's executive level, I'm going to look for someone that not only can figure things out on their own, but they should be able to recruit. So they're doing a lot of different things. They're no longer just good at marketing, right? Now, if I want someone that's more of like a junior, that's going to require maybe like an intern, for example. For sure, they will need handholding. That's when you have really good processes internally and people that can kind of guide them up. Because, we've talked about this in the past. Marketing itself, training an intern up in probably 2-3 months, they should be, they'll be like at a pretty good level. And then, they decide if they want to advance to the next level, which is basically, you're going to have to figure things out and you're going to have to hold your own. And that's how you get promoted to the next level. But I think in general, the ones that are more successful, I think, the ones that are on your executive team, these are the ones that are entrepreneurial and they figure things out on their own, and then they're the ones that come up with ideas because they take things off your plate instead of making you as a leader figure things out for them and hold their hand.
You need to look at your business and figure out what you need and what your goals are. As I mentioned before, Eric and I have different sized businesses. We're smaller than, let's say, the Adobes of the world or the Microsofts of the world. We're bigger than the people who are just starting out. If you're just starting out, you need someone who's creative and is scrappy and can just move fast, execute, do things on their own. If you're trying to scale, you want someone who's data-driven, process-oriented, can create all those processes and frameworks so that way the rest of the team can follow and you can scale up the department. But again, depending on your company size, it's going to vary drastically. And the best marketer is going to vary for what you're looking for, right? So it's like, first look at where the biggest issues are in your company and then go from there.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll share a story before we go. So thinking about examples in the past. So I've had this guy named David Kim. He now works at HubSpot, and he's actually kind of building his own personal brand. And when he first came in, he was an intern. He was previously working at a restaurant, and he learned everything. Like, sure, I gave him a bunch of material, but he learned everything on his own. He was coming up with ideas on his own, and then he pre-did work. He was like, here, I think we should do this, and this before even getting the job, right? And he figured out to take himself to a level where now he's at HubSpot, as one of their senior marketers. I have one more guy. He now works for Gary Vee. Hello, Raghav. And what he did first was he wrote me an 8,000 word piece on what he thinks we should do. These are the people that you can tell immediately that they're the go-getters, and you can. I know, at least for me, I can at least, I'm like, man, this person, they've got something they've got a spark that's different about them. So you want to be that person that's proactive. Anything else?
No, that's it. Make sure you guys check out marketingschool.io/live to find a new way to grow your business and your traffic.
That's it for today. Bye.
Cool.
I like that. A new way to grow your business.
The one thing I know how to do is pitch.
I'm trying to see if our click-through rate goes up if we generalize and say, hey, we want updates too on Marketing School. Because it's a two-step often.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see.
Ready?
Ready.
Okay, rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how to get more search from Google's new algorithm.
So Google has made it where you can now have a podcast and they'll take your audio, they'll transcribe it themselves and start ranking you organically.
Yep. The beauty behind that, actually, it's gotten better. Literally, I looked at it last week, and when I searched for the Marketing School podcast, we popped up, right? When I searched for the Growth Everywhere podcast, the Marketing School podcast popped up. When I looked at it again yesterday, it's the right podcast now. All you have to do to get in this into this is submit to Google Play. That's literally all you have to do. If you do a podcast, the only double work you have to do is just submit it once, and Google and also Spotify.
Not even submit it. It only takes 5 minutes. It's not even that much work.
And they'll transcribe, to Neil's point, they're transcribing everything, so you're going to actually start to rank for this stuff now. That's the benefit.
Yeah, and that's it. It's just like you don't have to create text-based content to do well. Whether you want to do audio, video, do whatever type of content that you perform the best at. For example, like Gary Vee, he's amazing at video. Content, he's not bad, but he's better on video than he is when it comes to text-based content. Figure out what your strengths are, leverage it, and just go and create it. And you can be successful because Google is now trying to make it no matter what kind of content you create, you can rank for everything. Like, just think about how much content Gary Vee has put out. Eventually, you'll start seeing all that content ranking on Google. And it's such high quality and people love it to death. It'll do extremely well, and Google's going to eventually start using all these signals to figure out what videos to rank, what audio clips to rank, which podcast should get more love. So all that stuff will matter in the long run.
Cool. And Spotify is also transcribing as well. So it's Google and Spotify. These are the players that are doing it. I'd imagine Apple would eventually get into the game too. Look, they just want more attention going to their platforms. Google's, like we mentioned in the previous podcast, Google's zero-click searches are growing, meaning people don't actually click through when they reach a search result page. And also, Google's the amount of clicks going to Google properties is increasing. So you don't think they're trying to bring that podcast attention back to their stuff and figuring out how to monetize it later? They will eventually figure out how to do that. You can bet. Well, I had something clever to say, but I forgot what it was. So do you have anything else to add?
Nope, that's it from mine.
All right, so that's it for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And if you're looking for a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Great. Okay.
We can answer some questions, and Neil can answer some. I'm trying to pull up the Spotify dashboard. It just came
Go
up.
over it. What are some questions?
Let's see. We got.
How can you rank a podcast? We just asked that. So now you're good. Just submit your podcast to the Google Play, and they'll start transcribing and ranking your podcast.
Cool.
What?
I've been seeing more incidents of ads that have videos that include, "Hey Alex," message, and have been activating my, or "Hey Alexa." So there, someone's asking, Zev, I've been seeing more incidents of ads that have videos that include, "Hey Alexa," message that's been activated my Alexa, and that begins to play what the ad wants me to get exposure to. What do you think about that? Burger King did that back in the day, if I wasn't mistaken. And what you're going to end up seeing more and more is more companies leveraging that, and then people are going to get really irritated. Companies are going to start getting bad brands for doing it or get a reputation hit, and then you're going to see a slowdown of it. So in the short run, I think people are going to do it. Long run, I would avoid this because I just think you're going to end up having a reputation hit.
All right, we can begin. We can answer one more.
All right.
Hey Neil, how to get clients from a small blog in the digital marketing niche? Don't worry about getting clients from your blog. Go to Crunchbase, look at all the recently funded companies, hit up the founder and the investors of that company, tell them everything that they're doing wrong and how they can fix it in like a 5 or 10 page PDF, and you watch, a portion of them will just hire you and give you money. That's the easiest way to get clients.
Okay.
Dude, I have a big pimple.
Huh? What?
I said I have a big pimple.
You do? Or me?
I do.
I don't see anything.
All right. You guys ready?
Ready?
Okay, rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how Spotify's new podcast dashboard is going to help you grow faster. So, Neil, you don't know about this yet, huh?
I do not.
I'm going to show you while we look at it. So Spotify just came out with a new dashboard for podcasters, just to get a little more transparency into how things are going. And if you go to podcasters.spotify.com, you can actually submit your RSS feed, and then you can basically, your podcast should be submitted, and also you get better analytics here. So what we're seeing here on my screen is we, in the last, I don't know how long, there's a period of time here, maybe last 7 days, actually. I don't think that's right, last 7 days. Yeah, anyway, here's what I'm looking at.
What does it show? Last 7 days. It's okay if it's off.
It says 566,000 starts, 445,000 streams. So 566,000 starts. What a start means is actually someone actually clicked to begin. A stream is actually when someone listens for 60 seconds. And then you also have there's a listener count and there's a follower count too. Follower count is how many people are actually subscribed to our podcast on, this is it through our RSS feed on Spotify. And then, listeners, I'm clicking on the listeners right now. We have 48,000, right? So basically,
how many subscribers? 48,000?
No, we have 27,000 followers. So a listener measures the number of unique Spotify users who started an episode in your catalog.
In the last 7 days?
I don't think this is a 7 day. Like it says 7 days here, but I actually think this is like probably like an overall. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it's too high.
Yeah. But here's what it is. Like this is helpful to me at least because 566,000 people start, 444,000 stream. That's 80%. So 80% of the people that actually start a podcast actually listen for 60 seconds. We never knew that before.
Yeah, and your numbers are going to be a lot lower probably, and the reason being is we have a 5-minute episode.
That's true, which we might extend. Hey, if you guys want us to extend the podcast, let us know. Let us know in the comments if you want us to extend it a little bit.
Yeah, and in general, like all this data and stats, so one thing you have to keep in mind with podcast stats, a lot of it's really inaccurate because it's like people could be downloading their episode on their portable iTunes player, iPhone player, and you don't necessarily know how well you're going to end up doing. I'm actually
Look at the follower growth.
Yeah, the follower growth, it's not growing that fast.
We're getting like 40 or 50 a day on Spotify.
Yeah, it has to be lifetime because if you look at listeners, it's only 500 and something. So starts and ends, it's only roughly 2,000 people are starting the podcast each day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's cool stats. And if you combine your...
Check this out. Look, 65% male, 31% female. That's better than like your YouTube channel and my YouTube channel because most of the time it's like 80% guys.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at my...
Here, we'll give you some demographic information here. So 38% of our audience is 28 to 34, 15% 35 to 44, and then 30% are 23 to 27. So a large chunk are the 23 to 44 range. And we actually have people 18 to 22, 10% people listen to that.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh, and here's who else they listen to. They listen to Drake, they listen to the Chainsmokers, and they listen to Ed Sheeran? I don't know how to pronounce it.
Ed Sheeran?
Yeah. But yeah, no, super helpful data. You guys check it out. It's free. So if you have a podcast, check it out. Anything else you want to add?
No, you're right about the gender. I've just pulled my YouTube stats. 18% are female, 82% are male.
There you go. So that is it for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, whatever platform you are coming from. And if you want a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live, Live. And if you want to stay updated, just go there too, because, well, we want to keep you updated on the new happenings. So that's it for today. See you tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Right.
There was a space between, we need to open that one, between 66 and 67. Here, let me move these down. Oh, I can't drag.
Yeah, you can. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do?
We need to move to 260, 66 and 60. No, you don't need to do it, Noah. 66 and 67. Yeah, there you go.
26.
That'll do it. That's fine.
266 and 67?
No, you
they're
changed
correct.
it. You fixed it. It wasn't like that before. It was fixed. You fixed it.
I did?
Uh huh.
Yeah, I copied and pasted it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Tumblr.
Yeah, let's do it.
Alright. Christina says would love 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Christina, tell us why you would like 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay. Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how Tumblr sold for $3 million. And here's what you need to know as a marketer. So just for some context, Tumblr sold for over $1 billion, 1.1 billion to Yahoo back in 2013.
In the day, yeah.
Yeah. So they were like...
And then Yahoo
body,
sold a lot
yeah.
of the assets to AOL/Verizon.
Mhm.
And then Tumblr now just got acquired supposedly for $3 million. No one knows the exact price.
To Automatic.
To Automatic, which owns WordPress. So pretty much WordPress bought Tumblr for roughly $3 million, and they took over 200 employees. And my guess, if the price was that low, that means Tumblr is losing money and they're not making money. It's a cash bleeding business.
Yeah. And I think also not even just as a marketer, but even just kind of looking at it from a business perspective. Apparently, from this writing, this is actually a interview done with the Automatic CEO. So he wouldn't disclose the price, but he did say like there's over 200 suitors, and Automatic was the best fit because they have all the infrastructure already. And from a business perspective, if they have a lot of bloat, maybe operational costs, they can probably cut a lot of that because they already have a lot of those people internally, and Tumblr has all the users.
Matt's a friendly CEO. I don't know if you'll cut 200 employees or 100 employees.
We'll see. Who knows? Yeah.
But in general, when you think about it, Automatic now will control majority of the web. WordPress right now, it's something ridiculous. I don't know the exact stat, but according
31
to
or 32,
Saeed from WP Beginner, he always tells me that WordPress controls over 30+% of the websites created. I think with the Tumblr move, they're trying to get to above 50+%. WordPress is also making a heavy push into e-commerce, and you're going to start seeing them do the same with Tumblr as well, if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, so I think the key thing here is like I have a WordPress site. I think your site is WordPress too.
No, I don't use WordPress.
I use WordPress.
I'm
like
kidding.
WordPress.
Of course I use WordPress. Everyone uses WordPress.
He lied on this podcast, guys. Anyway, so yeah, we both use WordPress. We both love it. It's fast, it's flexible, and it's easy for anybody to get started with it. So I think, look, how long have you been using WordPress for? Since the beginning, right?
For a long time.
Same. So I think as a marketer, I think, you shouldn't sleep on WordPress if you're not using WordPress. And I think the other thing too is think about how you can, as just even as a marketer or an entrepreneur, how you can manage to get a good deal at fire sale prices, which is much easier said than done. But I think that's a really, really sweet deal for them. I don't know what other clauses there are, but $3 million is like a drop in the bucket for them.
Yeah, but they have to cover a lot of the losses, I bet.
Yeah,
so it's technically
which I'm sure
not
they're
that.
fine with covering.
Yeah, it's a big company.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. As a marketer, you should start engaging again in Tumblr because I bet WordPress will turn it around. It was once a popular site. It'll be a popular site again. WordPress controls a huge ecosystem. It's an easy way for you to get more traffic. Jump back on the Tumblr bandwagon as soon as possible.
All right, so that is it for today. But don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. It helps us grow. And if you want a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Great. Okay. And you guys want to jump right in?
Let's do it.
Yep.
Oh, I like this.
Okay, we are rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about the difference between a short 10-minute podcast versus a 45-minute podcast.
So the big difference between a short podcast versus a big podcast is a long podcast typically goes more in depth. They cover a wide variety of topics. A lot of them are interview style, but in other words, what they do is they just continually go more and more in depth on anything or any subject out there. And what I found with the short podcasts is they cover one thing and they only go into that one thing. You get your quick dose. It's in and out. It's a real question of do your listeners have a lot of time to listen to something, or they have a short period of time? So if you're trying to create a podcast that people can listen to on their way to the work when they have a big journey or a long journey, or in the office while they're working, long works out really well. If you have an audience that's super busy, they're entrepreneurs, they're people who already don't have enough time in the day, I would recommend a short podcast.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'm literally looking at so we're doing this live at the same time, and there's literally a comment on, talking about drives, what's easier to listen to and all that. So I'll read that in a second afterwards and answer. Marketing School, I mean, we're around, we go up to 10 minutes or so, and then I have the Growth Everywhere podcast, which goes up to about 45 minutes. So, my take on this is from an advertising perspective. If you're running ads on your podcast, the longer ones, you can add more ads in there. I think Andrew Warner from Mixergy does a good job of this, where he actually inserts it natively as he's talking to the guest. So he might say, hey, where do you go to hire developers, Neil? And then they'll have a conversation. It's like, by the way, I recommend TopTal. So you can have a longer ad read. I know Tim Ferriss has, it's like a pre-roll and a post-roll. But if you do a short one, you can't throw too many ads in there because you're going to disrupt the user experience. So you don't want to do that. The other thing I'll say too is with the 45-minute podcast, it does take more prep work. It takes me anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, sometimes a little longer. Depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to, like yesterday I did an interview with a guy named Victor Chang, and I read his book. So I had all the notes taken from the book, and I was just going through all the bullet points in the book. And that prep time was basically, I've read the whole book. So let's call that like 3-4 hours or so. if you're doing long form, you have to bring it. You have to be the one, especially if you're doing an interview, you have to bring it with the questions. And if you're doing like a serial,
you do long form most of the time.
Yeah, which is
how long?
Those are 30 to 45 minutes.
Have you ever done over an hour?
Yeah. But what I'll say is it's a conversation at that point.
Yeah,
which is good. Now with this, Neil and I, we come from different kind of experiences, different levels too, and we come up with topics, and then we get ideas from the people that are giving questions through live, and we can just go. It's rapid fire, so it's a different kind of experience, but both audiences like it, and they will gravitate towards whatever they like.
Yep. Yeah, and in general, again, look at your audience. And you could also do an option where you do long versions of your podcast and short.
We put long ones on this podcast. We took the marketing school live stuff and we put it on here.
Yeah, people complained that they're too long.
No, people liked it.
I got emails of people saying it's too long. Yeah, almost all the emails I got when we did that. Because we took our whole conference and we just put them up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone told me it was too long.
They're like amazing. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe different people. Who knows? See, so it doesn't float everyone's boat. By the way, like if everyone expects to see like 5 to 10 minutes on this one, if you disrupt their flow, sometimes like most people are like, dude, what happened?
Correct. In most cases, whatever format you decide to go with, don't change. So if you're a short podcast, don't eventually go into a long podcast. If you're a long podcast, don't eventually transform into a short one because your audience is used to it. And sure, you may be able to get new people, but you're going to neglect your existing listener base.
All right, so that's it for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to help us grow. And don't forget, if you want a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE, and you'll get updates on the happenings with Marketing School. That's it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow. Let's answer some questions. Let's hit like 3 or 4. All right, live, we are not neglecting you. So Christina said you asked if we would like longer episodes than 5 minutes. When looking through podcasts, normally the 10 to 15 ones are easier to click on, listen to. Any longer than 20 minutes, and I need to schedule into my day or stop to take phone calls. Below 20 minutes, I'll send someone the voicemail and just call them back. You have my attention. Thank you, Christina. That was from YouTube. And then
appreciate the feedback. That was helpful.
Faisal asks, do Neil and Eric still code? If then, which programming language? I never coded. I mean, if you count HTML on CSS, I don't really count that. I think Neil, you used to do a little bit.
I can do PHP, not that well anymore, and it's pretty much a dead language or dying language. And I can do basic HTML and CSS, and that's it.
All right, LinkedIn. If you want to hook up with more questions, that'd be great. Zev from LinkedIn says, I've been seeing more incidents of ads that have videos that include a "Hey Alexa" message that has been activating my Alexa that begins to play. What?
We already answered that one.
We answered that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else. How will data scientists add to marketing in the future? So I actually had a conversation yesterday with a data scientist I work with at Treehouse. And it was funny because I worked with him 7 years ago, and he's like, yeah, my job is ultimately making data kind of understandable to everyone. And if AI is getting bigger and bigger, and AI is, we'll put it this way. The ex-president of Y Combinator, which is a popular accelerator, he resigned from his job basically to take a post at OpenAI, which they're trying to do basically artificial general intelligence, right? Which is basically, he thinks that's the final thing, the most significant thing human beings will ever work on. Everyone's talking about AI now, right? So with AI, you need data. So I don't think data scientists are going anywhere. I think we're going to need to hire more and more data scientists to help us do our job.
In the short run, yes. In the long run, no, because in the long run, a lot of these tools and devices will have AI built in, so then you won't have to hire as many people once you get to that threshold where enough technology is using it.
Yep.
Then we're far from that.
You won't need as much anymore. You won't need the humans anymore. I think
next episode?
Let's do it. How do marketers prepare for voice search marketing?
Okay. Rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to give you, our secret tool. So Eric and Neil's secret marketing tools. So what's the secret tool that you have?
So I only have one real secret tool that I have that I've never released to the public. I have a ton of data, like clickstream data, click-through data, all that stuff on literally billions and billions and billions of clicks every single month. I use that to find out patterns, seasonality, where things are going, bounce rates, what type of websites are working, what type of websites aren't. I pay hefty contracts or I pay hefty fees for that data, but that's the stuff that I use because it gives me better insights on what's happening with every single site. Like I have data on mobile devices versus desktop. I have data on even mobile apps. So it's like I'm able to use that to try to get ahead of the competition and figure out where trends are going and then make adjustments before other people.
Yeah, so I'm going to call it my secret weapon, which I've kind of talked about. But the reason I'm talking about it again is also because I know most people aren't going to do the work. And for the 1% of you that do it, I think this is congratulations. You will add more customers. So, we talked about the whole.io. I use that as a customer data platform. And there's a lot of these customer data platforms out there. But, my whole workflow here is we have a decent amount of people visiting our site, about 230,000 or so overall visits each month, and so there's a good amount of data there where we can see who's a B2B client, who's a B2B IP address. Then what we'll use Clearbit, which we'll also pay for, and Clearbit will enrich those leads. And then if 2 IP addresses visit our site, then automatically Clearbit will find 4 people from, let's say, their marketing team, their marketing leaders. And then from there, we'll make sure that they have a certain like Alexa score, they have a traffic amount. So we're literally using this data, enriching it from other data sources, and then we're plugging it into an outreach sequence. And then we're trying to figure out how can we outreach is our let's call it sales enablement tool, and from there we're trying to see which sequence performs the best, which one has a better open rate, and then basically the leads start to fall in based on where people are responding, and that takes a lot of work off our shoulders, and it's much more personalized when we reach out to people. It's like, hey, I noticed that you were visiting this page. Can we help you with something over there? That's just like a general outreach thing. But I will tell you that that's been a secret weapon that I've kind of been like talking about, but I haven't been pushing it that hard because
most people don't do it because it's too much work.
Yeah,
to implement.
But that is my secret weapon. Just like that's your thing takes work too. So
mine takes no work. Mine just takes money.
That's true. Resources. They both take resources.
Mine's just a big licensing deal, right? I pay for the data.
Yeah.
I have it, and that's it.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, we both have like our different kind of secret tools, secret weapons. I think that the key thing is just it's going to take work or resources. Both are resources, actually. So anything else?
No, and you'll figure out what works for your business. Every business is different. You got to look at your goals and where you're going and then adapt from there.
All right, so that is it for today. But before we go, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. It helps us grow. And if you want a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE. And you will, if you opt in there, you will also stay updated with the Marketing School happenings. That's it for today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Great.
Let's go.
Rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we are going to talk about tips on live streaming and podcasting at the same time. So
let's actually make it a list. Let's go with 7 tips.
7 tips. Here we go. We're going to go with tip number 1. So tip number 1, if you're going to live stream and podcast at the same time, it's important that the people that you're live streaming with, what you're trying to do is you're trying to engage with the people. So we are live right now. People are asking us questions on YouTube. They're asking us questions on LinkedIn right now. And it's important, at least, the way I'm thinking about it right now is every 3 episodes that we do, which might be about 15, 20, 25 minutes or so, we will take some time and answer the questions that are in there, because people want to feel like they're being listened to, and you want to engage with your community. Because if you're not engaging with them, you're kind of defeating the purpose of live in the first place. So if you're going to do it the right way. You want to perform. And I think the bar is not that high for live. It's just literally you're doing it, but you're also taking some time to talk with people. Otherwise, like, they feel like they're not being heard, and you're just writing a bunch of things, that all their effort's going to waste. You don't want to do that. That's how you build community, by responding to people.
Yeah, the second tip I have for you guys is make sure that when you're live streaming, do it with all the social channels out there. Just because your Facebook may be bigger, or your YouTube, or your LinkedIn, doesn't matter. You want all of them to grow, so make sure you do it with all of them. And the reason being is it doesn't take really any more effort, and you get better results from it.
Number 3, whatever audience that you have, let's say you have an email list, let's say you have social channels, make sure that you're promoting ahead of time before you do it. That way you can get people ready for it, get people excited, because that's going to get the initial wave of people coming in. And by the way, I mean, what these platforms are looking at, YouTube, they're looking at watch time. So you get an influx of people coming in, watch time spikes, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, great. they're kind of giving you a little benefit with the little live sticker already, but getting that extra bump is going to help you get more viewers coming in.
Number 4, make sure you're consistent. So the way a lot of these social algorithms work is the more of your users that engage, the more likely they're going to show all of your content on that social network. If you do it weekly and you're consistent, it's going to boost your overall social signals for each of those networks that you're live streaming on, and that'll help you get better reach for anything that you post, including, promoting your own blog content or products that you're selling or services that you offer.
And number 5, don't forget to add tags. So hashtags and also tagging the right people too. So I can see in our kind of our little not notification, but our description right now on LinkedIn, we have tagged like digital marketing, for example. It looks like we failed to tag the right people using the @ symbols, but we'll get that fixed next time. But you want to make sure you're tagging the right people, because what's going to happen there is that people are going to start sharing it too. Even better, if you can find LinkedIn influencers, they will help you share it as well. So I have a group of friends, like we'll always text each other and say, hey, can you help promote this? Can you help like this? Get those people to help promote as well.
Yeah, the next tip I have, number 6, is ask for comments. So all these social networks, the biggest change that I've seen that them make in 2019 is comments equals virality. Likes and all those types of things, not so as much. The more comments you get, the better off you are. And when you're going live, asking questions, all those things will help create more detailed comments. These guys are really smart too, these networks. They know that if someone just leaves a yes or no comment, they don't count it the same. So you want to encourage thoughtful comments. That'll help your content spread.
Number 7, don't forget to add a call to action at the end. So a call to action for us is, I'll add it at the end over here, but it's getting people to do something. Sure, you can get them to, rate, review, subscribe, and also you get them to, check out a website. Ideally, you only have one call to action. I just like to throw in everything, but one call to action to get people to focus, and that way they can go to the next thing. Because what you don't want to do is just kind of leave them hanging, right? So there's a good opportunity for you here. If you're hitting live streaming, where there's a good chance people might not have heard of your podcast, and the people that have heard of your podcast, they don't even know you're live streaming, and they can watch you. So make sure that you're adding a call to action to kind of bring people into one spot, and then you can take them to the next level.
Cool, that's it. If you guys want more ways to get more traffic to your site, go check out marketingschool.io/live. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
That's it for today. Bye. No, I'm getting schizophrenia with you like uploading stuff on your little MacBook, because if everything crashes, that'll be very sad.
Okay. I can pause it.
I just don't think your computer's powerful enough.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, we are rolling. And 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about the essential SEO to-do list for brand new websites. So go ahead.
All right, so if you have a brand new site, what do you need to make sure that is done so that way you can rank well? So let's start with the beginning. The first thing on your to-do list is going to be clean URL structure. It's a pain to change later on. Your URL should only have numbers, letters. Don't put 2 dashes in a row like digital dash marketing. It should be digital dash marketing. You can have multiple dashes in your URL, such as digital dash marketing dash tips, but don't do 2 dashes in a row. And of course, make sure your URLs are short. So once they got their URLs done, what's next on their to-do list that they should make sure of?
Also, they should not have the little months and the little, each month and year in the little folders.
Correct.
Too.
If you put months and dates within your URL structure, you won't do as well, because then Google is going to think it's time-based, so then you won't rank as well when it comes to evergreen.
Yeah, so I think the other thing to look at too is whatever CMS that you're using, make sure you're using the most highly reviewed SEO plugin. So if you're using WordPress, which we mentioned a couple episodes ago, powers over 30% of the web, there is the Yoast plugin, right? That's one plugin that you can use where they have a lot of different things that kind of they optimize your site for SEO. It's optimized for search engine optimization. Now, again, I don't know if you're using like something, maybe you're using Squarespace or maybe you're using Wix or something. I don't know, but at least for me, using WordPress, that's a plugin that I recommend. So look for that right plugin that will help you. That's going to take you further with SEO.
Yeah, the next thing that you want to do is make sure that you're producing content on a regular basis. So the more regular you are with your content creation, the more likely search engines are going to keep coming back, crawling your site. They're going to see that you're updating it. It's a huge factor in their algorithm. You'll start ranking better over time as well.
The fourth thing I would do is, instead of looking at things as, oh, we need to build links in the beginning, I would look at, how can I build relationships with people, right? So maybe first what you do is to start getting links and building relationships is, sure, a lot of people do guest blogging, but what else can you offer to the people, right? So, for example, if I know Neil is really interested in growing his YouTube channel, and I have and I have some good tips around YouTube, or I know some good people around YouTube, I might hook him up with something there, and then we can start to, eventually have that become a relationship, and then basically, then I can say, okay, we've established somewhat of a relationship. I've given him something already. Now we can start talking about, okay, how can we collaborate more when it comes to content? Not just guest posting to get the link, but can we do webinars? Can we do other things? It depends on the business that you're in, but think about things from the position of, how do I partner up with somebody? How do I give, and if I have nothing in the beginning, how do I give people something first that I know that they want, where I've actually researched them and it's all done for them, not requiring them to do extra work? That's how you go about building links, which I think better is actually building relationships.
Yeah, the next thing I would do is, on your to-do list, don't just create text-based content and don't just focus on Google. If you have a brand new site, you need to learn to start creating all types of content: audio, video, Google, Bing. Eventually all these search engines will start ranking all of this. You can also get a lot of search traffic even from YouTube. It's something that not enough people are leveraging. It's not competitive yet, but it will be more and more in the future. So don't just think of, hey, I got SEO, I got my site, I need to do well here. You need to start looking at other search engines and other types of content, both audio and video as well. And at the same time, you also need to think about voice search and start seeing, all right, can we adapt our website to also be compatible with Google Home or Alexa? And you can use tools like Jetson AI for that.
Yeah, and don't forget about schema too. So depending on the industry that you're in, let's say it's a local, you have a bunch of local shops, you got to think about local SEO as well. You also have to think about, a couple episodes we talked about the schema FAQ. Is that what you call it? Schema FAQ that you can do, where you can occupy more real estate there on the search result page. And just take advantage of the markup, right? If it makes sense, like you can have like the stars, the reviews, and all that kind of stuff. So don't forget about schema.
And don't forget about the basics: Google Webmaster Tools, Google Analytics. All these provide you data and insights. They even tell you messages like if you're getting penalized, or there's errors, or there's duplicate title tags, all the type of stuff that you need to fix. You can even submit your sitemap through Webmaster Tools. So make sure you do that as well.
All right, and I mean, there's some more advanced tips. Maybe we should make another one on the more advanced ones. That's what we're gonna do. So that is it for today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. But before we go, if you want a new way to grow your business, go to marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE, and just opt in there to stay updated on the new happenings with Marketing School. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Time for one more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how to convert live viewers into customers.
Okay, we are rolling. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Siu.
And I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about how to convert live viewers into customers.
So if you are doing things like live streaming, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter. The big thing that we found is you got to ask for people to convert. There's nothing wrong with saying, buy my product, check it out here. And the big mistake that people make is twofold. One, I'm not seeing them ask for the conversion. If you don't ask, you're not going to receive. The second thing is they put it in the most awkward place, or in the most useless place. And what I mean by that is typically at the ending. Like at the ending, they'll be like, oh yeah, and by the way, I sell X, Y, and Z, so check out my company. Or, oh, by the way, and I do this as well. And it's a bad habit. But what I found out from testing, let's say I have a video and I'm talking about SEO and boosting your rankings, and in between when I'm going over a tactic, I'll be like, oh, by the way, if you need help implementing that tactic, check out my ad agency, Neil Patel Digital. It flows more. That's where I see much more of a conversion, versus if I just have a whole video, I'm going live, and at that I'll be like, hey everyone, thank you for watching, and oh, if you want extra help, check out Neil Patel Digital, my ad agency, to see if we can help you out. By that point, by the time I say thank you for watching, from all the stats and data I can look at, most people already started dropping off. So by the time I get to my message on where you should check out my conversion point, most people don't hear about it or even click through or go to my site. Technically, they're not going to be able to click through, but they're not going to go to your site.
Yeah. My thing on this is kind of not exactly the live viewers, but if you have a live video that's going to be sitting there anyway, you might as well send it to your audience afterwards, assuming you've done it the right way where you've kind of layered in call to actions throughout the video. But you can you can share it on your social channels, share it with your audience. That's what you can do to kind of make the most of it. The other thing I'll say is this is going to take more work if you want to do it, but for this podcast, we've talked about so many different topics, right? We talked about Spotify, we talked about marketing tools, we talked about all this. Like, if we actually went out of our way to make like a PDF that was very specific for this podcast, conversion rate's going to go up because it's very specific, and it's people listen to one part of it and they want the next thing, right? How do you give them the next thing and then the next thing after that? So I would look at it that way, and then what else you got?
That's it. Also, when you're doing a live video, if you can't keep mixing things up and keeping people engaged, doesn't matter what call to action you have, they're not going to convert well. In addition to that, when people are doing these live videos and they're trying to drive conversions, if your video isn't related to your product or service, you're not going to do well. It's the same thing. It's not only is it about getting people to be engaged, but you got to educate, you got to help them out, and then ask for a conversion. Because if you just say go live and you say buy, no one's going to buy right away. They got to get to know you. They got to build that trust. You got to give them some value first before you ask them to give you the money.
Boom. Here's a call to action for you. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And here's the call to action. Here's another one. Check out marketingschool.io/live. That's LIVE for a new way to grow your business and to stay up to date on Marketing School. That's how you do it. All right. See you tomorrow. We got one more.
I can't. I got a 12
You gotta
o'clock.
go. Okay. All right.
I'm like, I base it off the calendar invite.
See you later.
All right. See you later.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for your time.
And Michelle will do. Oh, we're off already. Michelle will do